we'll be first starting with Linux operating system. Okay. For that, what are the necessary things that we have to configure on your system? Because in my system itself, I can practice Linux operating system without deleting my Windows operating system, which I'm using for my personal use. Okay. So how is it possible? The simple thing is you have to install an application on your system, which is called as either Oracle VirtualBox, or if you are familiar with VMware Workstation, you can go for it. I don't have any, restriction that you have to use only Oracle VirtualBox. It's up to you. For example, you have to search like Oracle Virtual Box. When you search that, you will get official document. Just open that. And then here we can see a download, or we can see a download page here as well. Select that. And you can see VirtualBox platform packages. It all depends upon on which operating system you are trying to deploy it. In my system, I'm using Windows. I'll choose this option. If you're using Mac with Intel, go for it. If you are using Mac with Silicon, Apple Silicon, like M1, M2 chipset, then go for it. Or if you're using Linux desktop version, go for it, or Solaris. Maximum we use only either Windows or Mac. According to my requirement, I have to go for this option and I have to select this. It will start downloading it. How to install this application is pretty simple, right? Just select next, 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 install. My guidance is actually not necessary. Once you have downloaded, you will go to that particular download pack. You will double click on that. For example, let's say I have downloaded this one. Once the download was done, you will open that. And you can see, you will see a setup wizard. In the setup wizard, this is called as setup wizard, a technical term. After that, you will say next, 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 install. That's what I mean to say. Okay. For example, accept, next, next, and then yes, and then yes. Do you want to create a shortcut in the menu? Do you want to create a shortcut on the desktop? I don't want it. Quick starter launch bar, no. Register file associates, no. Next, install. This is what we have to do first. After this particular session, the recording video will be shared with you. You can go through it and you can do it. Let us say finish. It will launch that application. Once the application is launched, in your case, you will see this welcome page. Forget about this 3. Since I've already created virtual machines on my system, by using this application, you are seeing this one. But in your case, you will see empty page here. Under the tools, you will see welcome to Oracle Box. That's it. This is the first task. Okay. After this, what we are supposed to do? We need to install operating system. As I told you in the demo as well yesterday, that we will be installing Ubuntu operating system. That too server edition, not desktop. For example, any operating system you take. Now in this Ubuntu operating system, we have 2 types. One is desktop version and one is server edition. Desktop versions are only for personal use, not to run your applications. And we have server. Which one we are planning to install? This one. Again, in Ubuntu, we have multiple versions. Different versions here. Not like this. I'll just write here. Earlier, we used to have Ubuntu server 20.04. Okay. And then after that, we have 22.04. And now we are using 24.04. Why we are using only even numbers is because those are LTS versions, long-term support. Long-term support in the sense, if I install this particular version of Ubuntu until 10 years, I don't need to worry about upgrading the operating system. Because of this, what is an advantage? I can run that particular server on this with the same operating system for 10 years with the same application. Application might get upgraded, but this operating system upgrading is huge task because what are the tools or what are the applications or what are the softwares you are running on top of it, those should not get affected. Okay. So that's the reason when you have your server where you don't need to upgrade your operating system for longer period, that is an advantage for you. Yes, you might raise up a question saying that there will be bugs and all right. Yes, they will be fixed. This particular community people, they will release a patch version, and that particular patch version you can apply on your operating system version where the bugs will get fixed. This is an ongoing process. You take anything, whether it is a tool or whether it is a software or an application, it's an ongoing process. The bugs and fixes. Now, coming back to the actual point, as of today, the latest version of LTS is 24.04. That is what we are planning to install. Now, for this, what I have to do? I have to download an ISO from the official website. It is from just type Ubuntu server download. When you type this particular sentence, you can say get Ubuntu server download. Select that. And we can say 24 as the latest one. The size of this particular ISO is 3 GB. That doesn't matter for me. And then download. Thanks for downloading Ubuntu server. It will start downloading it. In my case, I've already downloaded. You can see here. I don't want to re-download it once again. I'll cancel it. But you guys have to follow this particular URL. Ubuntu server ISO download. And then I've given this particular links. You can use it. Few people have joined it. Can someone verify whether you are able to see these links or not? Whatever I've posted here. Just to confirm. Open that application on the page and see whether you're able to see this message.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Now, after this, what we need to do? So it is like a prerequisite, what we have done till now. So we have downloaded Oracle VirtualBox. We have installed it. And one more thing, you have to install this extension package as well. So once you have installed Oracle VirtualBox, you have to accept and download, and you have to install this one as well. Simple. Just select this. Not a notepad. Sorry. I'll just show you this. Extract. Okay. Let me just go back to the downloads. Extract file. Okay. This is not supposed to be a file. I'll do one thing. Mhm. Mhm. When I open this, technically it is a kind of a package. Open with toolbox. Phone. Microsoft Simulator. Hmm. Okay, in Windows itself, we have Ubuntu terminal where you can run the commands. That's fine. Okay, you can ignore this one. Later, I will just show you how to do it. But why is let me download once again. I'm saying program files. Box. No, you can ignore, guys. This one you can skip. I think for now it's not necessary for us. You can just ignore this one. Yeah, not necessary. Sorry for the confusion part. Next, let us go back here. After these prerequisites are done, now we are ready to create a virtual machine by using this application to practice. What does it mean? For example, I have my system. It could be laptop, PC. In general, we call it as physical machine, technically. So if you're not able to understand, please let me know. Physical machine, or we can say physical server. But technically now it is not server, it is a machine. Imagine this one is like a laptop or a PC, the one what I'm using right now. After that, you have an operating system installed on top of it. In my case, it is Windows 11, what I'm using. Windows 11 in my scenario. So I cannot practice right. Right now, when I have Windows system, I'm not able to practice Ubuntu operating system. Then what I want to do, I cannot purchase a new laptop or a PC for that practice purpose. That is not my budget. So within this particular existing system, by using this Oracle VirtualBox application, we are planning to create a virtual machine. So what is a virtual machine? The machine which is created by a software. It is as simple as it. What is it by a software? Right now, we are using an application called Oracle VirtualBox. By using this application on your system, we are trying to create a virtual machine. Okay, so how it looks? You deployed an application. Okay. By using this application, we are planning to create a virtual machine. It could be one or two, it's up to you, or three or four. It all depends upon the capacity of that particular system. Or we can say resources capacity. Visually to understand, I'm just drawing only two. This is one virtual machine and this is another virtual machine if you want to create. It doesn't mean that I'm saying you have to create it. In this virtual machine, what I will do, I will install Ubuntu operating system and I will practice on this. Simple. I can use my Windows for my personal use, virtual machine for my technical purpose. Okay. This is what we are trying to do right now. For this to achieve, this is what we have done. We installed this application and we downloaded the ISO. Got this point or any confusion part in this? Is that clear? I hope so. Now let's go back to this. So how to create this virtual machine? There are some steps.
I have a, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Can you run
Yeah.
virtual machine on any kind of hardware, or isn't you
Any
need
hardware.
have
This application supports on AMD processor and ARM processor as well. It can be
right?
installed on Windows. It can be installed
So you
on.
need hyper-threading, right? Hyper-threading, or what we call it,
No, this is hypervisor. Is it? No, come again with your question.
hyper-threading on the motherboard or on the
No,
processor.
nothing to be done on
Nothing.
motherboard or in the BIOS. Nothing should be done. Only thing, if in BIOS, what you need to do is, for example, I'm using HP, let us say PC right now, ASUS. So I have to see what is the BIOS settings for it. For example, I'm saying ASUS. I'll go to BIOS settings. There I have to enable virtualization.
Right.
Okay. So I think you're talking about that. So if that is the case, if virtualization is not enabled in the BIOS, you have to enable it. How to do that? It depends upon the board to board, or we can just say PC to PC. Okay. So I hope you know what is the BIOS settings. Okay. This is like a hardware configurations that we can do. So go to that BIOS settings and see virtualization is enabled. By default, it should be enabled. I think it will get disabled. There are certain cases which might get disabled. Let us say HP BIOS settings.
Actually, I think Oracle installer prompts you to go enable it if it's not enabled.
Yeah, simple as it. You can go follow that particular. See, there are a lot of documents right now. Go to the BIOS settings and just enable virtualization. To see that visually, I just want to show you one picture, how it looks. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, in the BIOS, if I go to security, virtualization technology should be enabled if it is disabled. This is one additional care what you have to take. Done? Is this your question? I hope so.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
I thought not
yeah.
all processors support the virtualization.
Yes.
But
Technically speaking, yes, but nowadays it's enabled by default. What I've seen.
okay.
Uh, okay. Now, how to create this virtual machine? We have some steps that we have to follow on the VirtualBox application. What are those steps? Open the application. On the page, you can see new. Just select that option. Even this particular step-by-step process, I've already documented. You can follow that particular documentation, or you can see this recorded video as well. Okay. Let me give some name. Before that, I'll delete some virtual machines which are not necessary for me. I think this one I can delete. I'm just deleting this virtual machine which I have in my system. Delete all files. Yeah. Let me create a new one. Tools, new. I want to give a name, Azure Ubuntu Server. Just I gave a naming convention like that. Now this particular virtual machine data on my operating system, it will get stored here. Okay, which means on my base operating system, it will get stored under that particular path. That's what it is trying to say. And now we have to select ISO, which is so important. Now, whichever operating system you are planning to install in this VM, that particular ISO we have to select. In the drop-down list, this is a drop-down list. In that we can see, I already have this ISO showing in this particular path. Why it is showing you here for me? In your case, you will not see it because I've done plenty of times. It is just a caching. For you guys, what you have to do, others, It will open the pop-up of the page of your system. Select the ISO which you are planning to install. That's it. After this, second page. What happened? Yeah. Now, this particular task is done. Name and operating system. Now let us go to unattended install. Here we have to give the password, username, and this is the password which we will be using in order to log into your operating system once it got installed. So VBox user is fine, but I will just modify it to I have a habit of giving username as test user and the password as test123. A simple password for me. That's it. If you want to see this password, now we can see host name is Azure Ubuntu server, but I just want to give small letters, not capital. What are the server name I have given here? The same name was added into the host name. What is host name is nothing but every device will have a name. Best example, let us say you are driving a car, you have a mobile. That mobile you want to connect to that particular player. What are the audio system you have? When you are identifying that particular device, we use some name. When you are setting some Bluetooth connectivity, you will identify that particular device by using some name, right? So name is an identification of that particular device. Similar to that, every system, every operating system that you install on a machine will have some name that is called as host name. This is called as name of that particular virtual machine, what I've created. This is just a display name. But to communicate to that particular operating system, either we can use IP address or host name. Okay, so this is the host name, what I'm trying to configure. Same as a name. That's fine. It doesn't matter for us for now. Then hardware. For example, in my system, I have for example, I think it is 24 core CPU. I have 32 GB RAM. My system is having that 24 core CPUs and then 32 GB RAM. This is a PC. That's the reason why. Okay. Now,
Is it i9?
sorry.
Are you using i9?
No, I'm using
24.
AMD processor Ryzen 9. It is
Okay, Ryzen 9. Okay.
Ryzen, yeah, 7000 series.
Okay,
Actually, it is a
cool.
gaming one, but since I do a lot of clouding task and all, that's the reason I purchased it. I do editing as well, so that's the reason.
I thought
AMD is the
Ryzen
best.
7 only. Ryzen
ASUS
7,
is
I
the
thought
best
only.
one for editing, gaming, and all.
Okay. Yeah, I thought Ryzen 7 only comes with Max 16. I thought,
No,
but yeah.
we can configure that.
Okay. Never thought it comes with 24 cores, but okay, great.
Yeah. So now with this particular, see, these are my resources. What I have, resource in the sense, what is the capacity of the CPU, what is the storage capacity, what is the memory capacity. All this comes under resources. Now, out of this particular resource, what you have, how much you want to allocate to this virtual machine. Because this virtual machine to run and to do particular task, it needs a resource like storage, RAM, and CPU. Apart from the operating system, what you have, these are like hardware. Now, how much you want to allocate that is all decided here. The total capacity of my system is 32 GB RAM. I want to allocate 2 GB. By default, it is showing you. I'm okay to that because I'm just practicing operating system. I feel that 2 GB RAM is more than enough. Or I can increase it. 4096, nothing but 4 GB RAM. What is this green color mark? It is a no issues. Means if you try to give the capacity from this particular region, it's fine. If you are going beyond this, that is going to affect your base system as well, the physical machine as well. Okay, so be careful. Don't try to allocate beyond the limit. Since I have more capacity, I'm giving out of 32 GB, 4 GB to my virtual machine. So what will be the rest? 28 GB. But when it will be 28 GB, when your virtual machine is in running status, then the total capacity of this particular physical machine will be 28 GB because 4 GB is used by virtual machine. But when your virtual machine is shut down, right now it is powered off. What will be the total capacity of your physical machine? 32 GB. Okay. Yeah. It is as simple as that. I want a 2-core CPU out of 24 core, what I have. Minimum we have to give 2 core for the virtual machine. After that, hardware, nothing but disk. Technically, for our virtual machine, it is a disk, but for our physical machine, it is just a folder. Okay. Now that particular folder is getting stored under this path of this virtual machine. It is a VDI format, virtual disk. Okay, virtual disk image, it is called as VDI. Now on this particular folder, it is nothing but a disk in the virtual machine point of view. What is the capacity of this particular disk? By default, it is 25 GB. If you are okay to that, you leave it as it is, or else you can increase. Okay. But before trying to increase or decrease it, first try to check what is your system capacity. On the C drive, wherever you have installed your Oracle VirtualBox, you can see it is installed under C drive. Now, what is the total space that is left on the C drive? In my case, right now it is 321 GB. Out of that, I'm trying to allocate 25 GB to my virtual machine. But do remember, the 25 GB what I'm allocating to my virtual machine is not totally used. It doesn't mean that 25 GB is directly used by your virtual machine. No. Maximum we are trying to give 25 GB. As of now, what is necessary, it will use only that. Based on the requirement, it will increase the space. It will go up to maximum 25 GB. Okay, that's how it is. It is a dynamic approach, not static. Okay, and then finally finish. Once it is done, it will start the virtual machine and it will start installing the operating system. If you want to see the full screen, first go to view, select scalable mode and try to use full screen. Today we'll just see how to install operating system. Tomorrow we will concentrate on how to run the commands inside that operating system. See why we are using operating system. The ultimate goal is I want to interact with the hardware to store the data or to retrieve the data or to do some particular task. For that reason, we are using operating system on the machine. For this, we have to learn what we are doing right now. Once the operating system is installed, we have to know how to access it and we need to know how to run the commands. Earlier, we used to follow some step-by-step process to install the operating system. With the latest ISO, that is also not necessary. It is installing operating system right now with the options what we have selected. That's more of automated one. This might take some time. Don't expect the installation to be done within 5 minutes or 2 minutes. This might take some time because it all depends upon the network. It has to install the packages. It has to download some packages, install them. That's the reason why. Yeah, it is almost done. Installation was completed, so it is rebooting the virtual machine so that the operating system will get loaded. So now this is called as login prompt, what you're seeing on the screen. What does it mean? The operating system got installed. Now we are ready to access it. In this login prompt, we have to provide the username password what we have configured while creating a virtual machine. If you remember, I gave test user and test123 as a password. First, I have to give the username. and then followed by password. Password is invisible, it's hidden. You can't even see some characters what you're typing. So test 123, enter. If the username password is valid, then you have successfully logged into the operating system. So from here onwards, I run the commands to interact with the operating system and fetch some data or store some data. This is what I do after logging into the operating system. But before that, let us try to understand the architecture of Linux operating system, which means, so this is what we have done. We created a virtual machine and now we are running Ubuntu operating system on top of it. In this, I'm trying to practice. Okay. Now coming back to the point, let us try to understand the architecture of Linux operating system. So for that, I have a document. Let me open that. Just bear with me for a few minutes. Or I will do one thing. In the previous batch, I have given them. Let me download from there. This is commands. This document I will try to share, but this is the old document. Means now these steps are no longer required for us to install. So I will not be sharing this and create a confusion part. Uses and permissions. There is a document. Okay, let me search in downloads. Okay, I'll share the document later. First, let me draw the picture right now. I think I missed it. In operating system, any operating system you take, Android, iOS, Windows, Linux, Unix, Mac, all this particular operating system will have a kernel, Kernel, kernel. What kernel does? Any idea? If you have any prior knowledge on this. Anything that you know.
Kernel is a core operating system modules.
What it does
Without
exactly? What's the functionality of it?
so it the core functionality is to allocate manage the hardware resources, interacting with the hardware resources, the abstracted logic of allocating CPUs to the processors. It's an abstract logic because end of the day you need the drivers to interact with the CPUs and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And the hard disk, etc. But it's an abstract kernel is abstract logic with interfaces APIs exposed for interacting, for writing the drivers, etc. But it's a core module that manages, interacts with the operating systems and managing the processes and uh, other hardware components.
Okay. Got you. So any system you take, ultimately the operating system will be running on a hardware, right? On a particular device or a machine. So hardware understands which language, how you will communicate to the hardware, what is the medium, or what it understands hardware.
Hardware understands electronic pulses, but yeah, you can call it as binary.
Binary, right? Ones and zeros combination. That's it. Okay. Now the hardware can understand only binary language, ones and zeros combination, right? So we as a human beings, for example, I'm saying we cannot learn that particular language, binary language. We have our own specific language, let us say English, whatever it is we have, mother tongues or something XYZ. We use that particular language to communicate. How will you pass that information to the hardware? We need some mediator, right? Who will do the job for us? What he has to do, for example, I'm from one particular locality. You guys are from another locality. I don't understand your language. You don't understand my language. So I need a person in between us who can communicate, translate our language into him or his language into mine, whatever it is, so that the communication will be much easier for me. So similar to that, since I cannot talk to this particular hardware, okay, I need some particular thing or some particular medium who will do this particular job. That is nothing but your operating system.
Isn't
So
that
who will do
the
that particular
drivers?
job? It's an operating system.
Isn't
Now,
that the
in the
job of the
operating
drivers?
system, sorry,
Isn't that the job of the drivers to interact with the hardware, actual hardware?
no. But who will give the information to the driver?
Who will give the information to? Yes, the information in the sense who will manage that, who will
Who will
have the
pass
logic
information to
and
the drivers?
yeah, the who will pass information to the drivers, who will interact with the drivers on behalf of his operating system,
That's it.
right?
That's the
Operating
reason why
system
it's
doesn't
written here
directly
operating
interact with
system.
the yeah.
In
Operating
the
system doesn't
operating
direct.
system, we will have a kernel.
Uh-huh.
Okay. The kernel will do the job.
The kernel will do the job through the drivers.
Yes. So that's the reason why kernel is called as heart of the operating system. Okay, which will do the actual task. Okay. So what are the information we are passing to the operating system that will be given to the kernel, and kernel will talk to the hardware with the respective drivers. That's how it works. Okay. But how will you talk to the operating system? How will you talk to the operating system?
To the APS exposed by the operating system.
APIs, it's a long, what is it? Complex terminology, right? Any other thing
To
for
the
everyone to
interfaces.
understand?
Conversion of binary.
No, no, no. I'm asking a simple thing, not conversions and all. How will you talk to the operating system?
To the
By command.
interfaces, you mean?
To
Sorry?
interface command.
To the
Okay.
interfaces.
Yes. What are those interfaces?
UI.
Exactly. UI, graphical user interface. And how will you pass information? UI is something like you can see the information, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is called as output device. What is your input device?
Your keyboards, your mouse.
Keyboard and mouse, right? So keyboard and mouse is like we pass the information, and that will be picked by operating system, and that will be given to the kernel, and kernel will talk to the hardware. Okay. So it could be an application. It could be anything, right? Application like VLC player, MX player, or it could be CLI. I hope everyone knows what is CLI, or we can say command prompt,
Mm.
right? That is also one of the medium what we use. For example, if I want to see the IP address of my Windows system, I open the command prompt or PowerShell and I run the commands like let's say of ipconfig. I can say this is the IP address of my system, which I'm using wireless Wi-Fi. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or else we
Mm-hmm.
can go to the application and we can see it. That is a GUI. So we have GUI based or application based, or we use CLI to interact with the operating system by using our input devices and output devices. Input devices are like mouse and keyboard. Output device is nothing but your terminal. That's it. This is the architecture of operating system. You take any operating system. This is a simple architecture, but you can utilize this into Linux. Not too complex. Understood everybody, or any confusion part or any questions? Please let me know. Do not hesitate. Don't make it too complex. We have a hardware. I cannot talk to it. I'm taking help of operating system by using some medium. So through some medium, I'm passing the information to the operating system. My operating system will have a kernel. That kernel will talk to the hardware. It is as simple as it. No other technical things, other basics are not necessary because no one will ask an interview. This is only for our knowledge purpose. Since we are entering into this particular concept, non-IT background or newcomers like freshers and all, who just completed the graduation or whatever I said, who doesn't have the knowledge on this particular respective area, they have to understand this concept. That's the reason these are the basics. Got it right. Forget about where you're running your operating system. You might be running on a physical machine or you might be running on a virtual machine. Operating system is an operating system. It works with the same functionality. Got it? Now, on this particular login page, I've shown you how to log in. Means in the background, your operating system will verify whether your username password is valid or not. What is that called? Doing that particular task is called as, there is one technical term. Does anyone know about it or you can ignore?
Authentication.
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 So verifying who you are is called as authentication. Remember this. We will discuss this point in many places. For example, Facebook. You will provide username password when you log into your browser. Okay, and let us say you are using a new laptop. You opened a Facebook website and first you have to enter username password and then you will log in. Okay, what is that Facebook is trying to do? It's verifying who you are, whether your username password what you provided is valid or not. Once a verification is done, what is next? What you can do on that particular website is now called as authorization. Permissions. Okay. So these are like authentication, authorization is so important for any process to access, like let us say application or operating system, or whether it is a software. Yes, software as well. So all these are authentication mechanisms we use if it is configured. Okay. This is what I've done right now. Once the operating system got loaded, on the login page, I will see authentication option where I have to provide username and password. Once the username password is verified, I will be logging into my operating system to do the task. Now, what I can do inside this operating system, it purely depends upon who is doing this particular task. Okay. Right now, I logged into this particular system by using which user? Test user. You know, every operating system will have a administrator, or we can call it as super user. In Windows operating system, who is a super user? When he has all the permissions to do any task. Who is that? In Windows, you might have come across it for sure.
So what's the question?
Administrator. By default, in Windows operating system, for example, let us say, I'll give you one scenario. I want to open a PowerShell. When you try to open the PowerShell, either you can open as a normal user, the current user, or we can run as an administrator with full privileges. What does it mean? That application was opened with the administrator. I can execute a commands without any restrictions. Similar to that, who is doing this particular task? Right now, I logged in as a test user. So administrator is a super user of Windows operating system. In Linux operating system, we call it as root user, root, R-O-O-T, root user. But we cannot log into this particular operating system as a root user directly. First, we have to log in with the user credentials, what we have configured. From here, I can switch to the root user. How I can switch? Forget about SU command for today. When I discuss about that particular topic, you will understand what is SU command. But instead of using SU command, if I want to switch from this user to root user, we have a command called, the first command what we are learning today is sudo space -i. Okay. Now, when you give this command as enter, it will ask you the password of the test user for confirmation purpose. So
Test one,
test
two.
1, 2, 3 is in my scenario. If the password is valid and verified, I have switched it to the root user. You can see there where the cursor is pointing, right? On the left hand side, if you see the starting of the line, it is root. I'm a root user right now. What does it mean? I can execute any sort of commands without any restriction. Okay. So I guess this is sufficient for today. Only just a basic knowledge. I want everybody to set up this particular virtual machine and install operating system. Keep your system ready so that from tomorrow, whatever we discuss, you can practice on them. Okay.
Yes.
This recorded video will be shared with you. You can utilize it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. If I want to close this virtual machine, see, make a habit of do not shut down your system without powering off this particular virtual machine. Okay. I seen some cases. So if you want to power off this particular virtual machine, you can just click on the close. And while you are closing it, don't select the first option or second option. Choose the last one, power off the machine. Something like shutdown. That's it. Now it is powered off. Close the application and shut down your system. Whenever you want to practice, you can start the virtual machine. It is as simple as it. So we are using single machine right now for my personal use and for my practice purpose as well. That's the benefit of using virtual machines. I hope you got the point by now. Any questions before we wind up the session? No?